Hey, what's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist and today doing a Mathmech Synchro deck profile. So I'm really excited to do this one for you guys because this deck can easily OTK your opponent with Yugioh Mathmech Final Sigma. So without further ado, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell there so you can come for our notification squad, and definitely check the Patreon down in the description below for all those awesome rewards. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get straight on into this. So first off, we're playing a single copy of Mathmech Circular. This card is definitely a one-of in the build, and it's so awesome that we finally have this card back at 1. This card is ability you can send a Mathmech monster, except a copy of Circular, from your deck to the graveyard to special summon this card from your hand. Also, you can only attack with one monster for the rest of the turn, which is totally fine if we're attacking with Final Sigma. This card also has the ability if a Mathmech monster is normal or special summoned to your field, while you control this monster, you can actually add a Mathmech spell or trap from your deck to your hand, which is an awesome ability because one of the best cards to send to the graveyard is actually your copy of Sigma. Sigma is great to be able to send off your copy of Circular because this card can actually bring itself back from the graveyard to your side of the field, which will make your copy of Circular's second effect actually go off, so we can search out from a deck to your hand a Mathmech spell or trap card, because this card has the effect that if you control no monster in the extra monster zone, while this card's in your hand or your graveyard, you can actually special summon this card but banish it when it leaves the field. We then play 2 copies of Addition. Addition is a great addition to this deck. This card is really cool because it lets you actually target a face-up monster on the field, and then you increase that monster's attack points by 1,000 and you special summon this card from your hand. We then play 2 copies of Subtraction. Subtraction is great as a 2-of in the build as well because this card is an awesome ability, just like your copy of Addition, that you can target a face-up monster on the field, but this card actually drops that monster's attack points down by 1,000, and then you special summon this card from your hand. We then play 3 copies of Diameter. Diameter is really good as a 3-of in the build, and a really good normal summon is when this card is normal summoned, you can actually target a level 4 Cyberse monster in your graveyard and special summon it, but it cannot activate its effects. And a Mathmech monster that was Synchro or XZ summoned using this card on the field as a material gains the ability that once per turn, during the turn this card was special summoned, when your opponent activates a card or effect, quick effect, you can actually negate that effect, making it so your copy of Final Sigma can actually be a negate. We then play a single copy of Nabla. Nabla is great as a 1-of in the build because this card is an awesome ability to actually treat a Cyberse monster to special summon a Mathmech monster from your deck. And if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can actually target a Cyberse monster that you control in your extra monster zone, and you can make up to 2 attacks on monsters during each battle phase. We then play a single copy of Multiplication. Multiplication is awesome as a 1-of in the build because this card has the ability to actually target a level 4 Cyberse monster you control, and its level becomes 8 until the end of this turn. And if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can actually target a Cyberse monster you control in the extra monster zone, and its attack becomes double until the end of this turn, helping you double the attack points of your copy of Final Sigma so you can OTK your opponent. We then play 3 copies of Parallel XZ. Parallel XZ is really good as a 3-of in the build, as this card has the ability, if you do link summon, you can actually special summon this card from your hand to your side of the field, and then once you do, its level becomes 4 and its attack and defense is halved, and you summon another copy of Parallel XZ to your side of the field, halving its level and attack and defense points, making them both level 4 on your side of the field, making it super easy to go in for some XZ plays. We then play 3 copies of Ash Blossom. Ash Blossom is really good as a 3-of in the build to basically just stop your opponent from touching the deck. We then play 3 copies of Nibiru. Nibiru is great in this build just to help you break your opponent's board. We then play 3 copies of Charming Fluros. Fluros is really good as a 3-of in the build just to help us dig into the deck so we can basically draw the exact cards that we need so we can OTK our opponent. We then play 2 copies of Effect Veiler. Effect Veiler is definitely a 2 in the build just to stop your opponent's monster effects. So, that's it for the monsters, guys. Let's get into the spells. So for the spells, we're going to start with a single copy of Triple Tactics Talent. Triple Tactics Talent is great in this build because this card lets us draw 2 cards, take control of an opponent's monster, or look at our opponent's hand, and choose a card from it and shuffle it into the deck, making it so much easier to OTK your opponent. We then play a single copy of Called by the Grave. Call by the Grave is awesome in this deck to basically just stop your opponent's hand traps while you're trying to go in for a game. We then play a single copy of Crossout Designator. Crossout Designator is great as a 1-of in the build to basically just stop your opponent's hand traps. We then play a single copy of Mathmech Equation. Equation is great because this card is basically a monster reborn for this deck. We then play 3 copies of Signet Mining. Signet Mining is really good as a 3-of in the build because this card actually lets us send a card from our hand to the graveyard to add a level 4 or lower Cyberse monster from our deck to our hand, essentially being the rota for the build. We then play 3 copies of Small World. Small World is awesome in this deck because there's so many different bridges in this deck to get to the exact card that you need so you can OTK your opponent. So that's it for the spells, guys. Let's get in to the traps. So for the traps, we're going to start with a single copy of Super Fractoral. Super Fractoral is great as a 1-of in the build, as this card is built you can target 3 Mathmech monsters in your graveyard with different names and then activate one of these effects to special summon all 3 of them to your side of the field and then use all 3 of them to either Synchro Summon or XZ Summon, which is so cool to help you go in for a Mathmech Synchro or XZ monster using this card. We then play 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence. Infinite Impermanence is definitely a 3-of in the build to basically just stop your opponent's monster effects and also lock down entire columns of spells and traps. So that's it for the main deck, guys. Let's get into the extra deck. So for the extra deck, we're going to start off with 2 copies of Geomathmech Final Sigma. This card is an awesome 2-of and a great OTK boss monster with the ability that's unaffected by the effects of cards except Mathmech cards while it's in the extra monster zone. And if this card in the extra monster zone battles an opponent's monster, any battle damage inflicted to your opponent is doubled, making it super easy to OTK. And if this card is destroyed by battle or by its card effect owned by your opponent, you can actually add a Mathmech card from your deck to your hand. We then play a single copy of Gendamore. Gendamore is really good as a 1-of in the build because it actually helps us make a copy of Geomathmech Final Sigma. Because this card is actually a tuner with the ability that if this card is Synchro Summoned, you can special summon a level 4 Cyberse monster from the graveyard in defense position, but negate its effects. Also, you cannot special summon for the rest of the turn except for Cyberse monsters, which is a great ability to help us bring back a level 4 to our side of the field, so we can use this card plus any of our level 4 monsters to step into a copy of Final Sigma. This card also has an insane effect that when your Cyberse monster battles an opponent's monster and inflicts damage to your opponent, you can banish this card from the graveyard and inflict that much damage to your opponent, and you can also only use each effect card once per turn, making it insane to help you OTK your opponent. And then a single copy of Deceive Worm. Deceive Worm is great in the build, but you only need a single copy of this card in the build to be able to send to the graveyard off your copy of Neo Tempest Terahertz, and this card is great in the build as a 1-of to be able to use to basically just negate spells and traps. We then play a single copy of Alimbertium. Alimbertium is great in the build as a 1-of, but I feel like 1 copy is really all you need. This card has the ability that you can contribute a monster to be able to special summon a level 4 Mathmech monster from your hand to the graveyard, and also you can detach XZ materials from this card and then activate the effects depending on the amount that you detach. If you detach 2, you get to add a Mathmech card from your deck to your hand. If you detach 3, you get to add a level 4 monster from your deck to your hand. And if you detach 4, you get to add a spell or trap from your deck to your hand, which is a pretty cool ability to be able to use. We play a single copy of Laplacian. Laplacian is basically like an XZ version of Trishula, which is awesome to help you deal with multiple cards that your opponent has, and it's just an awesome card to be able to make with your copy of Super Fractoral. We play a single copy of Firewall Dragon Dark Fluid Neo Tempest Terahertz. Neo Tempest Terahertz is great in this deck as a 1-of to help you send from your deck to the graveyard, your extra deck to the graveyard, your copy of Deceive Worm so you can negate spells and traps, and this card is awesome to help you OTK your opponent. With my single copy of Access Code. Access Code's great as a 1-0 to help you pop multiple cards on the field, plus it comes out absolutely massive to help you go in for game. With my single copy of Decode Talker Heat Soul. Decode Talker Heat Soul is awesome because you actually pay 1,000 life points every single turn to help you draw a card, which is actually insane to be able to do, so we can draw into more hand traps to control the board so we can go in for game. I'm going to see a copy of Transcode Talker. This card is basically like a walking monster reborn. I'm going to see a copy of Splash Mage. Splash Mage is basically a walking monster reborn, very similar to your copy of Transcode Talker. I'm going to see a copy of Cyverse Wit Kid. Wit Kid is awesome as a 1-up in the build because this card is really, this Link Summon card cannot be destroyed by battle by card effects, and Cyverse monsters this card points to cannot be destroyed by card effects, and if a monster is special summoned to a zone this card points to, while you control this monster, except during the damage step, you can banish Cyverse monster in the graveyard to add a Cyverse tuner from your deck to your hand, which is a pretty cool effect. I'm going to see a copy of G-Golem Crystal Heart. G-Golem Crystal Heart is great because you can actually use this card to bring your copy of Transcode Talker back from the graveyard to help you link climb, which is really good because this card can actually bring back your Earth Cyverse monsters to your side of the field. With my single copy of Lingeribo. Lingeribo is great to basically help you counter trap cards. With my single copy of Alamirage. Alamirage is awesome because we do play in this build Parallel Exceed, which is why I play both of these in the deck, because your copy of Alamirage can be used with any of your low level hand traps that you can normal summon, and then you can make this card so you can summon out your Parallel Exceed to your side of the field and then summon an additional Parallel Exceed to your side of the field, and both of them will be level 4, and then you can actually tribute this card off your side of the field so you don't have a monster in the extra monster zone, so you can actually Exceed summon to your copy of your Laplacium, or your copy of Alambertium, to be able to help you search the exact card you need so you can actually go in for a synchro play of your Mathmech Final Sigma in the extra monster zone so it can do double damage. So that's it for the deck, guys. I hope you enjoy it. This deck is super fun to be able to play, and it's super exciting to finally have our copy of Circular back so we can easily make our copy of Final Sigma so we can go in for game. But this deck is so fun to be able to play, and it's actually insane how easy it is to OTK your opponent using Mathmech Synchro. So that's going to do for this one, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification, burn notification squad, and we'll see you guys in the next videos. Later, guys.